Stories in today's video. 1. Found out wife left the bar with a guy cheated on me in his house. Reddit cheating stories updates 2. I 31 am sterile. Fiancé 27F miraculously got pregnant. Baby looks nothing like me. How do I address this? TL. Drive. Wife slept with a married guy, kept talking to him afterwards, was also at the same time having an emotional and s***shul relationship online with 2 foreign guys. We have 3 kids and a bad financial situation. Divorce is not an easy option and we both want to try to salvage the marriage, but I don't know if I can. Let me start with some backstory. We've been together for almost 17 years, have 3 kids and old house we've been slowly restoring over the last 2 years and our budget is not the greatest, no savings and lots of debt. She's the only woman I've ever been with and before me, she had only a couple of one-night stands, so we were both little experienced when we met. She's been the light of my life and we've gone through some difficult times together and always have we been there for another. I thought we were one of the few who managed to stay on course no matter what. Apparently I was wrong. With all that was going on, trying to fix the house, both working full-time, trying to make ends meet and to make sure the kids are doing fine, we kinda lost ourselves. The bad financial situation and health-related issues didn't help either. My wife had been trying to lose weight for a long time but nothing seemed to work for her and her self-esteem was down to the floor. We were both depressed, but instead of talking and consoling one another, we suffered in silence. I buried my nose in computer games to hide from our problems while she had her nose in her phone all the time. This spring and summer, things started going worse. She was spending more time with her friends and going partying, while I stayed at home with the kids. I thought that if I let her blow off some steam, that she would come home in a better mood, but that didn't work at all. I tried to ignore the bad feeling that was starting to sink in my stomach. I had heard a rumor that she had been seen kissing some dude at a dance in a nearby town. I confronted her about it, but she denied and said that the guy had tried to kiss her, but she pushed him away. I was not fully convinced, but didn't want to push her too much as I was trying to let her see that I trusted her. Yet as the summer **SSED, I noticed she was getting way more protective and secretive about her phone. After saying by chance what her FBP**S sword was one night in August 22, I decided to take a look, to see if I could find anything about that dance earlier that summer. What I found was way worse. I saw that indeed she had been kissing some dude drunk as hell until her friend pulled her out of it, but that's nothing compared to what I saw next. I accessed her Messenger and Skype. I found out that she had been chatting online with 2 foreign guys, A and B, for months. It had started on Instagram, some random dude, A, sent her some flattering messages and she started talking to him on Skype after that in early June. After only speaking to him for less than 2 weeks she started sharing with him nude photos after only resisting a bit. The incident with the guy she kissed happened later that month. She was chatting with this guy up until midst of August, when he showed his real intention. He was a scammer with a stolen account and was just sending her pictures from that stolen profile. Yet she had been fooled enough to share with him pictures of her most intimate parts. She seemed like she was falling in love with him. By then she was already started to talk to guy B, which also started on Instagram. Didn't take long for that to evolve to nude pictures and s***shul talk. In both cases they were fantasizing about them coming to our country and meet with my wife at a hotel. She never spoke ill of me or anything like that, just talked about me like I was just there. If they asked, she said that I treated her well, but then she went on to tell them how she liked to talk to them and they made her feel good. The worst is yet to come. In one of the chats with a female friend of hers I found some more disturbing things. They went together to a 2-day town festival in another nearby town in early July, stayed at a rented room, which I of course had agreed to and thought would be okay, and I knew that my wife's friend who has trouble with panic attacks had needed to stay overnight at the local hospital. But what I didn't know and saw in that chat between them was that she mentioned a 41-year-old guy from our own town, Guy C, a married man with kids, who was unhappy in his relationship and she had met him that night. He had come over to chat and had tried to go all the way, but my wife told her friend that she had stopped him. She didn't mention the name, but I found out a likely suspect as our town is small and I also found in my online phone records that she had sent a message to a number belonging to a guy that fit the description. I feared the worst. I didn't let my wife know what I had found yet, as I was afraid what would happen while the kids were around, so I put up a mask and waited until Saturday 24th of August to confront my wife. I had called my mother and got her to take care of the kids. My wife is taking some CL*SSES to get some form of degree for her work, and when she came home from CL*SS I asked her calmly to sit with me and I told her about what I knew. There was no violence, yelling or bad mouthing. Just two sad people, one of them angry and hurt, and we talked the whole night. She promised that nothing had happened between her and C, and what she had done online was only to try boosting her self-esteem a bit as she thought I had stopped loving her. She didn't exactly try to blame me for it, nor did she yell at me for snooping around. She said she thought I didn't like her anymore because she wasn't losing weight, and when those guys started raining compliments on her she said she got addicted. She said she didn't mean to hurt me, she was selfish and tried to please them as she could so they would keep complimenting her, therefore sending them nude pictures. She told me that she saw it now that she had been cheating on me, but she hadn't realized it while she was doing it, even though she knew she was doing something wrong. I wanted to believe her, I truly did. But I had concerns. We decided to try to fix our marriage and seek counseling. As the weeks *SSED, things seemed to be getting better. She's been way more affectionate to me and caring. Our *X life has been great and we've been spending way more time together than before. I still had a growing feeling in my stomach that she was hiding some critical information from me, and after our second meeting with the marriage counselor last week, she finally admitted the truth. She admitted what I had suspected and feared but deeply hoped hadn't happened. She had indeed slept with C that night in July. And even though she said she had felt bad afterwards and shameful, she still kept talking to him via social media. She admitted to have met with him twice after that, but nothing more than a bit of kissing. She even tried to contact him again a few days after I had confronted her in August. My first response after that was simply freezing. I didn't yell or curse or anything. I didn't harm her in any way. I partly felt relieved that she had finally admitted what I suspected, but at the same time I felt humiliated and hurt beyond anything I've ever felt before. I didn't want to rush to anything, so I haven't thrown the ring in her face yet, nor have I confronted the other guy, as I don't want to be the person to rat on him to his wife or make myself get arrested for *SSAULT. Besides, it wasn't him that broke my marriage contract, it was my wife. I don't know what to believe anymore. The woman I thought I knew would never do something like this. She's been trying to convince me that she was an idiot and selfish and whatnot, and that she feels really bad about hurting me like that. She says she's ready to do anything to fix the situation and to get me to trust her again and feel like she's worthy again. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever trust her again or see her with the same eyes. I do love her, of course, and I like to be around her and see her smile. But at the same time it stings my heart. I want this to work because of the kids and our *TTY financial situation, as we can't afford going through divorce, but I fear that I will lose myself and never gain any self-respect if I go through with this. How the hell can I forgive her for cheating on me with not only one guy but 3? Well, 4, if you count that one time she kissed a random guy. She was both emotionally as well as physically cheating with all of them for some period of time. Not just a one drunk night mistake, but some kind of emotional and *sexual relationship with 3 guys for over 2 months. Doesn't matter if 2 of those relationships were online. She still planned to meet with them, knowing fully what would happen if they did. Has anyone here gone through anything similar to this and has some good advice? I know it's easy to say, just divorce her man and move on, but it's not that simple. I still have feelings for her and I don't know what will happen with our kids and our families. I also fear that if I divorce her, which will mean that her family and friends will know the truth, that she will harm herself or at least be in a mental state where she will have bad influence on our kids. We also have an unfinished house and no savings and need at least to finish fixing it in order to get any cash out of selling it. But after getting lots of great comments from you guys as well as talking with my closest friends, I got enough encouragement to gain some faith in myself. I finally opened my eyes to what I had thought deep down, that there was no chance in hell that I would ever gonna get over what my wife did, so I decided last Thursday to tell her I wanted to end this marriage. I think she knew it was coming, as she didn't seem that surprised. She didn't even try to persuade me or anything. Just went like a broken record, nothing I say will change anything, whenever I asked her to say anything. There was lots of crying and she called in sick to work. We have since then been telling our closest friends and family about the incoming divorce, but she has been incredibly hesitant to admit what she did to her parents. My mother knows everything, but I for some reason agreed to not tell the in-laws about what happened yet. Maybe I'm afraid of a war between my soon-to-be ex-wife and me, so I agreed to give her time to tell them. When we met them last Sunday, we told them about the divorce, but as we had to leave 2 of our kids with them for 3 days due to school holiday, it didn't feel like the right time to come clean about their daughter's multiple affairs. Instead, we told them that there was some unsolvable disagreements, which felt really bad for me to say, because they seemed so disappointed. They have been part of my family for almost 17 years and I care about them, and they have been really supportive to us through the years, both financially, and they love spending time with our kids. I felt really bad about lying to them, but I'm afraid that if I go and spill the beans, my soon-to-be ex-wife will become hostile and make the divorce process that much harder. But my patience is not limitless. I will tell them eventually if my wife doesn't come clean soon. I don't want the real reasons for the divorce to go public either, as we live in a small society and the truth would eventually find its way to my kids and they might get picked on because of it. I'd rather for the truth to remain with our closest friends and family, while the official explanation would be that we divorced due to growing apart, wanting different things, etc. I also don't want to be known as the poor guy who had his wife porked by another guy. Now there are some big loose ends to tie. We need to sell our house and find apartments for ourselves. The custody will be shared, where I will have the kids for a week and their mother for the other week. I also feel like their legal address should be with me, so I won't have to pay her child support. Would be unfair after what she did. I have no idea how this will end, but often in my country, the mother tends to get what she wants, as everyone always feels sorry for them. We had been trying to have a baby for a few years. Eventually we found out I was sterile. We accepted it and decided to hold off on trying so hard and said that we would figure out what I do in the future. Although we weren't trying, we were continuing to have S**X obviously. One day she missed her period and we found out he was pregnant. I was so happy and I thought it was amazing. We joked about how as soon as we stop trying she ends up pregnant. The doctor said that it was a miracle baby. The night that the baby was born I couldn't be happier. I was just happy to finally have a baby and so excited to take her home. After a few days of taking care of her, I couldn't help but notice that she was extremely pale. For reference, I am black and she is white. I figure she would eventually darken a little and I didn't want to overthink it. Then our friends came over and while the girls were inside we were out back drinking. They all mentioned that they didn't want to worry me or to cause drama but asked if I ever thought my fiancé would cheat on me. I thought I was very weird and then I knew exactly where they were going with it. I said no and we talked about our concerns with the baby's skin tone. However, I still tried to brush it off thinking that the baby would get darker after a while. Now the baby is 5 months and I can't help but question if she's mine every day. She has very fine hair. No K**NKS or curls, just bone straight hair. I know she's a baby but I have been around plenty of babies who still have natural curls. She is also still very pale. The thing that's been bothering me the most is that every day she looks more and more Asian in the eyes. I don't mean to offend anyone at all but her eyes are just very stretched, they look nothing like mine. Is it wrong for me to be questioning my fiancé when this would have never crossed my mind before? Am I just being paranoid? How do I go about addressing this? Do I even say anything? My biggest fear is that the baby is somehow mine and she will be extremely hurt that I accused her of sleeping with someone else. I just don't know what to do. Please help me. TLDR. Fiancé having our miracle baby after I had been confirmed to be sterile. Baby looks nothing like me. I don't want to look like an *SS but I feel I need to address this. What do I do? I don't even know where to start. Part of the reason I didn't update right away was because my thoughts have been all over the place as of late. I have been making major adjustments and dealing with a lot. My daughter is not actually mine. While it was incredibly hard to get through at first, I think that a small part of me was already mentally prepared for it. I just had a feeling. I hoped it wasn't true and I convinced myself that I was doing this just to rid my anxiety, but I think deep down I knew. I took a lot of the advice given and I thought about it for a few days. After deciding how I was going to approach the conversation, I asked my fiancée to drop the baby off at her mother's house so we could have a night to ourselves. I made dinner and then tried to talk about things that we had been going through recently and how our lives had changed since having the baby. I explained that I had been having bad anxiety and that I believed that it was partially caused by becoming a new parent, but also the fact that I was sterile 1 minute and then told we were having a baby the next. Right away she saw where I was going with that and she did get a bit defensive. She continued to tell me that miracles happen, and that she couldn't believe I didn't trust her. I explained that I saw exactly where she was coming from but asked that she saw it from point of view as well. We argued and she refused to do the test. I told her it was fine and that I would leave it alone. I wanted to leave it alone but she kept bringing it up all night even after I had apologized and said that I wouldn't bring it up again. She kept telling me that she couldn't believe I would think of her that way and that I should just be happy that we have a beautiful healthy daughter instead of trying to accuse her of cheating. That's when I started to question her. Something just didn't feel right and I knew I had to do the test regardless. I did the test the next day and waited a few days. By the end of the week I found out that she wasn't mine. I cried for about 2 days straight. I just couldn't handle it and I had no idea what I was going to do. I tried to spend as little time in the house as I could because I knew she would see something was wrong right away. I struggled with figuring out how I would let her know that I knew. I also contemplated whether or not I should say anything because I knew that this would change things with my daughter. I finally decided to just tell her. Of course she denied it and said that the test was wrong and that I need to just drop it. I explained that the clinic said there was no way this could be an error. She continued to deny it and I just couldn't believe that she would still lie to me straight to my face. She threatened to leave and take the baby even though she has nowhere to go, seeing as her own mother doesn't want to get involved. We've been pretty much ignoring each other when we're not dealing with the baby. She said that she will be out in 2 months and I'm glad. My concern right now is whether or not she has the right to take the baby. I love my daughter more than anything but I refuse to stay with this woman. I know the baby is not my blood, but if I'm on the birth certificate, does that help? I at least want to have shared custody. I bring on over half of the income of provide everything for the baby. There is no way that she could take care of the baby without me. She will not be able to afford it. I know there's probably no way possible for me to get some custody, but is it pointless to fight for shared? I can't lose my daughter. As much as I hate what my fiancé did, I don't even hate her. I can't explain how hard it is having to deal with losing someone I love so much but also knowing that they would do something so terrible. It's hard enough having to end this with her, but I don't think I can handle not seeing my daughter anymore either. Please help with any advice as far as how I can fight for shared custody if that's even possible given the circ**m stances. TLDR, my daughter is not my blood. I don't know how to move forward. I don't want to lost my daughter regardless of the circ**m stances. Edit. Forever person that feels the need to comment rude things like, she is not your daughter, please stop wasting your time. I am aware that she is not my blood. That does not take away from the fact that I have been the one taking care of her since she was born. I have been the one changing her diapers, feeding her, etc. It baffles me that some of you don't have the decency to understand that after creating this bond with her, I refuse to say she's not my daughter now. I know that this is Reddit and that I am probably asking a lot of some of you, but seriously, how hard is it to just be decent person? Comment from Weasel Panties. Paternity tests are reasonably inexpensive and only require a cheek swab. That said, I gave birth to a totally blue-eyed blonde child with silky straight hair. I'm light-skinned and mixed race, but I am definitely black. That boy was definitely mine. I was fully awake and aware when I pushed him out, but looked nothing like me. By the time he was 13, his hair thickened up and his features looked just like mine. Meanwhile, my oldest, who has my hair color and skin tone, has approximately 0 other physical features of mine.